How's it going, y'all? So, I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase, like father, like son, like mother, like daughter, like parent, like child, and I am a firm believer in that the experience that parents have, even before the child was born, directly and indirectly affects the upbringing and the life and the thought of the child. Thought as in thought process, the way we think is influenced by our parents' actions, is what I'm saying. And on that, I would like to introduce you to my father, Mr. Robert Walker, born November 28th, 1974, Thanksgiving baby, and that also means his 50th birthday was last year, so congrats to him. Halfway there, as some might say. Continuing on that, recent developments with him, he retires this year, 20 years in the military, and that's a pretty serious commitment. So, you hear that and you automatically kind of picture what kind of guy this is, right? He's gonna retire a master sergeant. Congrats to him. And my father raised me almost militaristically. Didn't play no games, didn't take no BS. One of my favorite things from him, he always does it, he calls it the knife hand, right? You point, you signify, and you set example, right? You tell him you're not about it, not gonna play these games, right? It's commanding instead of just pointing, right? The knife hand. I just thought that was a funny little thing to me. But let's fast forward a little bit. I was born in 2003. My father graduated high school in 1994, meaning that he had almost 10 years where he got to live as an adult, be an independent young man, make a lot of ignorant decisions, and ignorant decisions he made. He drank a lot of alcohol, did a lot of drugs, messed around a lot, didn't really care about anybody, was doing his own thing, right? And I would say about November of 2002, 9 months back from my birthday, he and my mom would, meet and interact. And at that point, that's how we end up with me. And there's some ignorance hidden within that. I am not going to go into the details because that exposes part of my conception and my parents' private life. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. We're gonna fast forward to my senior year of high school. This is either spring or summer of 21. I am about to graduate or have already graduated and about to go to college. So my senioritis was hitting real hard. And on top of that senioritis, I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time, so was really struggling mentally, was just not in the right place, not taking care of myself as much as I should. And on top of that, I smoked weed in high school. I was always comfortable around marijuana. My mom smoked. My dad stopped smoking when he joined the military, duh. And I smoked, right? I started smoking in high school, and it was going so well. I was ignorantly using marijuana to manage my mental health, which isn't healthy at all. I don't condone that. It's not safe. It's still an illicit substance and illegal in the state of Texas, even though some could argue that alcohol is more dangerous. Not gonna get into that, but I got caught. I got caught smoking pot, and it was not it. The compounding of everything, the tensions rising in my household, especially as me and my father began to bicker, right? As I was getting ever so ready to get out of that house, man. I was so excited to go to college. I was so excited to go meet new people, do my own thing, be an adult. But leading up to that, I, like my father, made some very ignorant decisions of my own. I, after being forced to quit weed, getting drug tested, searching my stuff, the whole shebang, they were not playing with me. I resorted to less safe, less healthy options to, manage my mental illness and fight my demons per se. And there was one night one silly night. So in the past, I would do this. I would take my substance way later at night after everyone had gone to bed. And this specific day, I was feeling a little facetious. You know what I mean? So I decided to do my stuff a little earlier, and yeah, it hit me a little harder than I expected. I pretty much got caught. You know, I slurring my words a little bit, stumbling, and I was trying to make it to the bathroom, and my parents got my ass. And following that, man, I got torn up. Now, I was almost a grown man, so I wouldn't get whooped by this time, but like verbally torn into, and I deserved it. And at the time, I had a lot of resentment for my father for that, right? Like in my head, in my youthful, ignorant head, I was like, I would have never resorted to this if you would have forced me to quit smoking weed, right? Like, that's an ignorant thought process. I should have learned to handle my problems more maturely. And continuing on that, after getting caught, you know, that next morning, I felt like shit. I looked like shit. I had just been stressed the whole night, didn't sleep at all. I usually didn't sleep anyway, but at least it was a little different, or this was a little different. And he sits me down on the couch, sitting to the corner of him, and he tells me this story. He tells me this story back when I was first born. I was but a few months old, maybe a year. He was living at home, hadn't even joined the military yet, hadn't married my mom, and it was just him and me in his dad's house. And of course, he was still doing drugs and whatnot, right? He was like, shit, I got a kid, right? Whatever, I'ma still do me. And he tells me that he was high as F, high as gone, right? And he's sitting on the couch, and he gets descended upon by this angelic, godly figure. Now, whether that was the drugs or true divine intervention, right, to some scale, could be the blending of both. To paraphrase, that figure told my dad, you need to freaking act right, right? He needed to grow up right then and there. He needed to become a man and take care of his son. And that's what he did. You know, after that, he joined the military, right? He knew that the paths and the careers that he was having were not going to cut it to raise a family. He ended up marrying my mom several years later. And after he told me that story, it like broke my heart, man. To, you know, see my dad see himself in me, that shit's tough. I couldn't even begin to imagine how tough that is. You know, parents only want what's best for their kids at the end of the day, and kids never seem to realize, especially not in the moment, how much good they're doing, how much good their parents are doing for them, how much they want them to be better. And that's all my dad ever wanted. And it's just a little hard to talk about even now. And I didn't even gain this empathy for my father, right? I'm not really a empathetic person. I don't feel for others very well. I don't feel for myself very well. But that got me. You know what I mean? It was almost like a That's So Raven moment of self-awareness, get this bird's eye view understanding, and it just does. Oh man. Yeah, that's all I got.